All right. So again, new month, new week, new quarter, clearing the charts. We're going to go over kind of everything. Today we're going to be going over sort of where we are in the charts, what has happened the last month, and then we're going to jump into what we're going to be looking at this week. And then we'll also talk about what we can expect as well with news. We're probably, if I'm being completely honest, I think it's best for us to not trade Monday, Tuesday. And I probably will not be trading Monday, Tuesday. I might just watch PM session tomorrow. But again, Tuesday's a bank holiday. And then Wednesday we have FOMC minutes. So we'll probably do a live on Wednesday. Since it's only FOMC minutes, but again, still expecting possible. That's why I said I'm probably expecting to see cleaner action on Thursday and Friday once we get, big news days out of the way. And then once, we start cleaning up a bit. But if I'm being completely honest, probably best for us to sit out Monday and Tuesday. Again, Tuesday, bank holiday, Monday going into the bank holiday, start of the quarter. Especially where we are in the charts as well. We just swept that high, probably expecting consolidation in the coming days. And I think it's best to just, settle off. So, jumping in, kind of want to mark out where we are. So, I knew a lot of traders and a lot of new IC3 traders. The first thing I want to talk about that ended up failing for some reason, and I want to show exactly why and what it was. And it was this right here. I saw a lot of traders ended up loading shorts in this daily fair value gap, expecting to see a sell-off. Now, this is where a lot of new ICT traders are gonna get fumbled. Why did this not work out? Again, looking on a bigger time frame. Oh, we're on the contract, so we can't. Hold on. Actually, I gotta go to. Right, we just swept this. We've swept buy side. We're now coming up into a daily fair value gap, right? If this is bearish, we have displacement back down. Why does this not work? What are the two things that are missing here? No market structure shift and no internal swept. This is internal being swept here. And if I'm being completely honest, this might maybe freak somebody out, but the markets are looking pretty fucking bullish. I'm not going to lie. To be honest, looking at the monthly, this is looking like clear buy side to me. Now, I know it might seem, actually, let's look. I want to take a look at this as well here. So we haven't really reached discount, but we did bounce off this monthly fair value gap. We're starting to displace higher, right? This would be market structure shift, right? Displacement up. Pull back, move up. We could possibly see a bull. I know we don't want that to happen, and a lot of people don't. Again, economics wise, we're bearish, but charts wise, we're pretty bullish on a bigger time frame. Now, I am bearish just because we've swept that overall high. Again, daily and weekly we're still bearish because we've swept this high, right? Now, I'm not going to be fully bearish until we get that low swept. So looking at this time frame, right? I'm not going to be bearish long term, meaning like monthly, until we come back down and displace a below this low, right? Because again, looking at our model, if we're just looking at this here and looking at, again, imagine like this is a 1 minute chart or a 15. Like imagine we zoom in here, we just swept the 15-minute high. There's no reason. There's no short present here yet, right? There's nothing. The market has not told me that there's any reason to take a short position, right? Now, until we come down here and then break through this low with displacement, then I can say, okay, I'm probably bearish. What can I expect the draw to be? Probably, down here, right? Then I can say, okay, we have more room to go to the downside. But until that happens, markets could fucking literally explode, right? So I'm not going to take just this high being swept as a sign to go short. And I'm also going to take into account that this getting ran through is also showing me that the draw is probably higher now that we've swept that high. So I actually just recorded the draw and liquidity video. It's like 30 minutes, so that'll be up tomorrow. Highly recommend going to that. And one of the biggest things I cover is this. Understanding watching PD arrays get respected and disrespected, and using that to your advantage to understand what the draw on liquidity is, right? So going into this week, zooming back in, right, we can see, number one, right, our bias has been spot on. We came down, right when we come down, we sweep this level. What are we? We're bullish, right? We were bullish the whole week once we came down, right? We got market structure shift, right? Big displacement. Or you could mark this in. It really doesn't matter. I would probably mark this in because we get the breaker, right? You get the 1 hour breaker block. What do we expect? Come down, hold it, right? And then straight towards the draw. Literally perfect. Literally, this is a perfect, we have sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve, right? Perfect ICT model, literally. Come down, sweep the low, sell side of the curve, market structure shift, breaker block, pull back the fair value gap. We have buy side of the curve. This is a perfect model. Like, literally perfect model here. Absolutely perfect model, right? So, going into the next week, what am I looking for? Well, we've just swept this overall big, external, buy side level. So, I could expect possibly to see some displacement lower. Now, just created that weekly low and gap. I'm going to draw this in. Going from Friday's closing price to Sunday's opening. This is going to be our weekly opening gap. If you guys want to draw this on your charts, it is from 4485. Here, I'll actually put this in the chat for you guys. 4485.5 to 4482.5. So that's the weekly opening gap for this week. Gonna draw this in, right? What is weekly opening gap? The gap created from Friday's closing price to Sunday's opening price, right? This is an area that is going to get redistributed back to, right? So going into this week, again, the reason why I'm probably not going to trade tomorrow as well is because, again, we want to wait for new action to start to form. Now that we just swept that level, we're starting to get displacement right back down. I'm probably still expecting us to probably go higher and take, this high. And I want to see more action start to form, right? Now that we've just come up here, there's not really a lot of action to base off of. I want to start, forming some new things. Possibly, right, come up, maybe sweep this high, come back lower, right? Form some more action, and that gets us a better understanding of, where markets want to go. Right now, we just come up, put in a low. Okay, so now we have, one significant low here, right? So I'd want to see maybe come push down low, displacement, back down, right? So that's the biggest thing I'm paying attention to is I just want to see more action start to form. So we have this 5-minute fair value gap. Again, what can we expect? Right now, we're still rejecting this, so I could expect us to sell off a little bit more. Now, if we end up breaking through this, again, what can I expect? Draw on liquidity to be higher. And that's pretty much it on ES, right? We've just swept this high again, still waiting for a new structure to form, right? We're very early into this stage, right? We have to kind of recognize where market is. What do we expect to see here, right? Okay, number one, we either continue higher. Number two, we consolidate at the highs. Or number three, we're waiting for displacement back down, right? That's going to give us a better understanding of what the draw is, right? If we can get displacement back down, we get market structure shift after forming some sort of structure, then that gives me a better understanding. Okay, the draw is lower. Then we can look to maybe take some trades using that bias, right? So now we have a daily bias. We have, a possible draw being lower. Then that's when we zoom in and like, okay, let's say this, right? That's how we form, the quality setups. Would be like, okay, let's say, we come down, form equal here, maybe come up, boom, sweep that high, maybe come back down. Okay, boom, then big displacement lower. All right, now we have, market structure shift on a bigger time frame. We're starting to displace back inside this range. Okay, then what do we wait for? All right, now we wait for, okay, let's say, we have a fair value gap here on a bigger time frame, right? We're in the 15-minute. Let's say we come up, right? Again, more action starting to form, We may put a high in here, maybe come back down, don't break that high, and then we come up one more time. Oh, wait, we just swept the 15-minute high. Wow. Okay, 15-minute high, and what else? Inside of a bearish model. Wow, A+ setup here, right? 15-minute high gets swept, looks to take the rejection. Okay, what's the draw on liquidity now become? All right, whatever that recent low is, right? So that is when we want to learn to take high-quality trades, right? Because we have bearish model playing out on a bigger time frame. We have a clear draw on liquidity now being lower, right? Because we have structure on a bigger time frame telling us the draw is lower. And then we wait for a bearish model, right? Which is being, okay, 15-minute high gets swept. Then that's when we zoom in and be like, all right, now that's when we look for, right? Oh, I can't really, oh, okay. Come on. Why can't I zoom in? All right. And then that's when we look for, all right, maybe internal swept, then market structure, then pullback discount. All right, blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? So right now, we're still very early into that stage, right? Recognizing where markets are structurally, and I want to see more structure. So I'm probably not going to be trading Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. Now let's take a look on NQ. Now, what do we expect? What are we looking at here? What's the first thing you guys notice looking at NQ? NQ has not yet taken this high, right? So technically, we're still forming SMT. Now, personally, looking at this, I really have no confidence in this SMT until we get displacement. Again, even though we have an SMT, I'm not going to take that SMT as confidence until we actually show. And the only way I'm going to take this SMT is if this gets disrespected. We have a huge 4-hour fair value gap here, right? What am I expecting? This is a big bullish model. We're still forming a huge bullish model here, right? We have liquidity swept. We have big displacement up. We have a bounce off 4-hour fair value gap, right? Where like the draw on liquidity is obviously higher, right? I would only expect the draw to be lower on a bigger time frame if we disrespect this, meaning we just break through this. If we break through this 4-hour fair value gap, I can expect us to see lower. But until then, I still think the draw on liquidity is higher, even if we have an SMT. And a lot of people end up going to take a short here without seeing the proper verification for it. Again, guys, look at this. We are still super, 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 super bullish, right? Markets, in my opinion, even though we're forming SMT at the highs, I still think the draw is probably higher. Now, again, I always like to say, understanding the draw on liquidity, I want to see what's getting respected, what's getting disrespected. Right now, we're still respecting every bullish PD array that we see. So until, even if we're forming an SMT, right, like this, I would need to see this fair value gap get disrespected, right? Like, for example, if we're taking a scalp model here, which this even wouldn't be scalp model because it'd have to be a trend, right? Right now, this is a bull trend. So the scalp model would have to be like this, right? So this wouldn't be a scalp model. But even if this was, right, we'd have to get displacement back down and then a fair value gap for us to take a short, right? Meaning this fair value gap has to get disrespected for this to be valid, right? So I'm not going to trust that SMT too much, right? A lot of new ICT traders are going to take that and be like, oh, I think we're going to sell off. Now, I think we're going to sell off if we can break through this. But until that happens, I still think the draw on liquidity is still going to be higher. Yes. So right now, I would want the draw to be this 4-hour, right? Possibly look to come down back to this. Kind of have a 4-hour breaker here. Maybe come back to this. Possibly back to discount of this range here as well, right? Come back to discount. Start to show, some sort of support here, and then look to come back to that buy side level. But I'm going to continue to be long biased until we break through this. If we disrespect this and then use this as inverse, then I could expect the draw to be these lows. Make sense? All right. That's pretty much, again, looking on a bigger time frame as well. What do you guys think? Like, you cannot tell me this chart is not very, very bullish. Again, pull back to discount on NQ. We're bouncing off a monthly fair value gap. We have displacement higher. Possibly could expect us to come back to here, right? This is where everybody's going to get faked out, right? This is why, now this opinion is honestly, people don't like this. Everybody else is bearish when I'm honestly pretty bullish. And the reason is because, again, looking on a bigger time frame, this is a very bullish model, guys. Like, we on NQ have broken through this high, have a huge monthly fair value gap, right? This is big displacement, right? We're in a very bullish trend. We've pulled back to discount. I would expect us to come back to this monthly fair value gap and then look to see buy side. So I could potentially see a short term, possibly a couple months, right? Maybe two months in the next 2 months, maybe seeing some maybe reversal, right? Bearish trend, right? To come down, sweep these equal lows, right? We have a big fair value gap on the daily here as well. That's honestly what I'm expecting is maybe this, right? Maybe let's say this SMT does end up playing out. Let's say we do put in that high, right? Come down, right? That would be that break, right? Break a structure, maybe pull back, and then let's come down. Okay, and then I'm looking to see fucking this, bro. Like, if I'm being completely honest, this makes more sense to me. This makes more sense to me than it would be just absolutely dying. And again, like I said, I'm not here to predict. I'm here to react. So again, looking at the monthly, I would not be bearish until this gets broken through, right? And then I could expect the draw to be those lows. But again, this is super big time frame. This is not something we need to worry about right now, but it's just fun to cover it just looking at structure rise, right? Same thing with the 4 hour, right? Biggest thing I want to see is this SMT play out. If this plays out, then this fair value gap should get ran through, right? If we're bearish and this SMT plays out, then this bullish fair value gap should get ran through, right? Justin, what makes you want to see a more structural form before you have a short bias? For instance, like on ES, you said you want to see more structure being formed. Yes. So, for example, right, if in our short model, right, what do we look for? If I was gonna, an A+ short model, right? If I'm having a clear bias, right? Let's say we have, put a high in, right? We come down, sweep liquidity, right? We're coming up, blah blah blah, and then we sweep that high, right? Now, right when we see this high, I am bearish, right? But I'm not gonna take a position, any sort of short position, until I see a short model play out on a bigger time frame, and then that gives me a bias, right? So what would I need? Internal being swept. So maybe this would be that fake. This is where we are right now on the charts, right? That first initial move back down. Okay, that does nothing for me. Okay, because why? I need some sort of low being taken, right? And on ES right now, if I look at the 1 hour, nothing's happened yet. There's no low, right? This would be the low, so this needs to get taken first, and it needs to be displaced. So if looking at this, I would need to see this. Maybe internal swept, then come down, then we get displacement back down. Okay, then this gives me confirmation that the bias is lower, right? Because we could just do this. Sweep this low, fake out all those short traders, right? No displacement, and then go higher. Which a lot of the times, that'll happen if you're not paying attention, right? That's why I want to see everything align. And then when I go into the day, right? If I'm looking at this chart and I'm like, all right, guys, we have a clear bias going into today, right? We can see bearish model playing out. This bullish fair value gap just got ran through, right? What am I expecting? I'm expecting possibly maybe a push at the open to displace in this fair value gap, and then I'm expecting a fucking rejection and maybe back lower, right? But until all of that happens, market can just continue up. That's why we always wait, right? You want to see the reaction. Because again, on a bigger time frame, this could then be maybe break a structure, right? Break a structure, and we just go right through this, and we displace higher, right? Because instead of this could become two different things, right? Two different things. It become this, bing, 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 bong, bing, bing, right? Or it becomes bing, breaker, bing, right? So, two different things, right? That's why we want to see the reaction. But this chart looks to me bearish, because this big move to me looks like we want to have some at least some sort of displacement. So in my opinion, the draw on a bigger time frame, I would want to see come back to these fair value gaps. Daily, we just have a massive move on that. So 4 hour fair value gap here as well. Could come back into that one. Make sense? Replay session? Do we? All right, we can do a replay session. What do you guys want to do it on? What do you guys want to do the replay session on? Let's ES. But the thing with ES is when I go like too far back, I can't really zoom in, so it's kind of sucks. Yeah, I'm not going to be trading on Monday or Tuesday. Euro USD. All right, let's do it. Euro USD. All right, let's do it. 4 hour, let's just start like here. Okay. All right. What are we looking at, right? All right. So buy side's been swept, right? Okay. But we have a lot of kind of lows here, right? So unless some sort of PD rate gets disrespected, I could probably expect the draw to be lower, right? So now what's my new buy side? Okay, here. All right, so we have new buy side. Now, if this gets broken through, which it kind of is right now, what would I expect the draw to be? Probably here, right? Now, what does this become? Low resistance liquidity run. So we've kind of swept all these kind of lows right here, right? Starting to displace back up. Now, we have a lot of these lows here as well, which I would expect to become low resistance. But since we're displacing above this bearish 4 hour fair value gap, I would expect the draw to be this here first. So going into the day, I'll probably be bullish. What could I expect? Draw to be here. We have a high here. Would want to watch that 15-minute chart. This would be the draw. This to me would be market structure shift. We have a fair value gap. Never ended up coming back into this though. Right? So we'll see what happens when we take that initial high. Okay, we took that initial high. Do we displace lower? Okay, we continue higher. That could be internal swept. Again, draw on liquidity. It looks like we're just going to go take that high. There we go. High gets taken again. So now I'm going to be careful taking a short, right? Want to be careful taking a short. Again, why? Look at all these highs here, right? What does this become? Low resistance liquidity run. So even if we take this small little high here and we reject lower, this could be just straight move to the upside. So I want to be careful looking to take any short here, right? I'd have to see really, really big displacement to the downside for me to take any sort of short. And right now, there's nothing, right? Notice we're coming down, sweeps all these lows, big displacement back up. This probably gives me, again, I wouldn't actually buy here, but this is just testing the draw. If we come down, sweep this, again, no displacement lower, I would expect just probably a run up to take out that high. Again, low resistance liquidity run, the draw is still that high. Haven't taken it out. Again, this is where I would sell because all of these PD arrays get disrespected. Looking at a 4 hour now. Would want to see, is there anything here? Coming back into this 4 hour fair value gap here. So now, what am I? Bullish. All right, so now I look for internal model. All right, we've come down, swept that low. If this gets broken through, what am I expecting? Bigger move up. All right, we get broken through. What am I expecting? Draw to probably be this high first. Draw gets taken. Okay, if we displace through this, then I'm expecting the draw to still be higher again, because now we have relative equal highs. Pull back to discounted 4 hour fair value gap. We're starting to form bullish model. Again, still coming up. I would still probably expect. Now, what am I waiting for? Okay, this is now what I could look for to possibly take a trade, right? 15-minute low being swept. Draw on liquidity is probably higher. We've displaced above this high. We're bouncing off a 4 hour fair value gap. We have equal highs being clear buy side. Okay, if I look at a 4 hour here, is there some sort of fair value gap? There's not, but there is some sort of order block. So we have order block here, giving us some sort of bias. We have a low being swept on a 5-minute time frame. So what would I want to see? Displacement back up right now, right? Coming back into this 5-minute fair value gap here as well. Okay. This would now be my buy side. Okay. If we end up sweeping this, I want to see displacement back up. Right? All right. Oh. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. I like that we're consolidating. This now becomes internal being swept. Boom. Gets swept. Starts to have big move to the upside. Okay, if I'm bullish, this needs to get disrespected, right? So this should get broken through. Doesn't get broken through. No long yet. Internal swept. Still waiting. Displacement back up. Okay, now, just by looking at this, I could expect this to get broken through. Do we get broken through? Rejecting. Still. Pull back to bullish fair value gap. If this gets broken through, then we'll head lower. So this fair value gap right here on the 5-minute needs to hold. If it breaks through, then we head lower. Do we close? Still long bias. Now that we're holding that, I would expect a big push back up. Still no, still getting rejected. Again, still respecting this bearish fair value gap. And there's really not been any sort of market structure shift. So any sort of long would be lower probability. If I want to take a long, I'd have to see a break above that high. Still no break. Still no break. What could I expect? Still no break. Still waiting. And still waiting. Still would be waiting. Internal swept. Would want to see that be a sweep now, right? Look at this consolidation. This to me is clear market structure model. This to me looks like this. I'm expecting instant pushback up now, right? Instant pushback up to this high. We have consolidation. We've put in a low. All of those orders that have been accumulated here now get stopped out. I'm expecting a big move back up to break through this. This is what I'm expecting here. Instantly gets bought back up and then takes buy side. Even if we get a pullback like that. That's what I'm expecting. We'll see. Do we get bought back up? Still waiting to get bought up. Still waiting. Still waiting. Again, no long yet because there's no structure shift. And there would still be no long. Still be no long. And we end up selling off. Right? So, looking at this trade, even if we have a long bias, there would be no long here. Why? There's no displacement above any sort of high here. Right? No displacement above any high. This is when you get overlapping models. But if everything doesn't align, you don't take a trade. So even if we have bullish here, this can get ran through, right? So there's no long here because there's no high being taken. Sell off. Okay, now what? Still in that bigger time frame for a value gap. So we're still on a 4-hour. Now, if we end up continue to break through this, I would expect lower. Big move back. Actually, I did not want to do that on a 4-hour because that just kind of spoiled. Let me go back. Boom. Okay. Boom. Zooming back in. Now this low gets swept. Still holding. Okay, still holding that 15-minute or that 4-hour fair value gap. We're now holding this 1-hour fair value gap here. We have a low being swept. We still have relative equal highs up here, right? Look, it's sell side swept. Big move back up. Pulled back to discount fair value gap. We have a 15-minute swept here. What am I now waiting for? Displacement back up with a market structure shift, right? Okay, so now I need to see this high get broken through with displacement. Okay, broken through with displacement. What am I expecting? Drawn liquidity to be higher. What's the drawn liquidity? Any sort of significant high. Now zooming out, all of this becomes low resistance. So what's the buy side level? This, because this is our most significant high. So what would I expect? This becomes inverse fair value gap. So I'd expect this. Bing, 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 bing. Break above. Invalidating bearish PD array. What is this? Perfect long bias. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Market structure shift. Pull back to discount. Or not, well, actually, we don't even need to pull back to discount. Pull back to fair value gap. Right? Market structure shift. Big displacement. We have liquidity swept. Bouncing off 4-hour fair value gap. Drawn liquidity becomes that high. Comes back down. Again, at this point in time, you should have probably scaled that. I would not. Again, this is a bigger time frame, so you would never hold this. But you just caught this big move here. Again, draw would still be higher. Bigger time frame wise, are we still holding any sort of fair value gap? 15-minute here. If this gets disrespected, could possibly see lower. Still holding. So now what I'd look for is internal model, right? This now becomes a draw. What I would want to see a 5-minute high get broken with displacement. There we go. If we pull back to that fair value gap, that could be a long. Nope, never given. Just again, buy side still probably here. And bing. All right, we keep it going. Displacement back down. Okay, but keep in mind, bigger time frame wise, we just swept this. Draw still higher. So we do want to be careful taking a short, but does not look bad. Big displacement back up. Do we pull back to discount? We do. Possibly take a short. Where would my stop be? Here. What would my price target be? My first price target would be this low. What would my second price target be? Any sort of PD array that hasn't really been kind of touched yet, I guess, or any significant low. Possibly look to see here. Stopped. I would probably get back in that. So again, this was the reason why we high never taken. So this technically is never invalidated. Once we get this displacement and we continue to hold this bearish fair value gap, if I was to get stopped here, this is where I re-enter. Draw gets taken. Waiting to see the reaction. Again, draw could now be this low. Another possible short setup right here. Reason is, let's go back. Equal highs. Again, sell side of the curve, right? Big move back down. If we come up, displace above this, and then reject, could possibly see lower. Still in fair value gap as well. Bigger time frame wise as well. Actually, yeah, bigger time frame. Look at this, 4 hour. Have a 4 hour fair value gap. We have a clear low. What would I wait for? I would wait for the sweep. Boom, swept. What am I waiting for? Displacement back lower. What am I waiting for? Still waiting, still waiting. Boom. Now probably won't get a, there we go. That would be your entry when we pull back to there. Sell, pull back to discount. Bing, bing, bing. Looking to see those new lows. There you go. Now this would have been your like 90% off, and then you could let the rest run to that low. Again, still respecting bearish fair value gaps. This could be possibly another short opportunity, right? Retrace. Rejecting bearish fair value gap. Bing, 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 bing. Not the best RR, but a good trade nonetheless. Boom. Stop here. First price target here. Let the rest run here. Actually, probably put your stop here. That would be better. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I would probably take this off here. Again, don't need to get stopped for me to say, okay, what's happening here? We've just broke through this bullish fair value gap. Now we're retesting this. Now there's another bullish, or we're broke through bearish fair value gap. Market structure shift to the upside. We're displacing. Now we're pulling back to bullish. Okay, this is where I probably don't trade this, right? What does the draw become? Probably this high now, right? So if I'm in any sort of short, I automatically probably take it off there, right? Because what's getting respected, what's getting disrespected, right? Chop, 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 chop. Sells off, takes that low. Daily time frame. External low being swept. Still in. Kind of big daily for value gap. Again, we just swept this high here. So if I'm bearish, I need to see this get heavily broken through, right? So boom, daily candle. I want to see this. Still holding. All right, do we displace? All right, we displace. All right, so what am I? I'm probably bearish going into the next, month, right? Or the next week, especially. Okay, what can I expect though? 4 hour. Probably a retrace. I would want to see a retrace back up to at least discount of whatever this is, right? Okay. Boom. Turn to come up. Probably going to expect a lower now. Still rejecting here. Again, every sort of bearish PD array is still getting respected, right? So what does that tell me? Draw is still lower. Boom. Right? This is still getting respected, right? Nothing has been broken through yet. Coming up. Again, what would I then look for? Internal model. Possibly look here. Have a lot of consolidation. Highs getting swept. A lot of really choppy action here. This possibly short model here. Low being broken. Displacement. Pull back to fair value gap. What do I look to see? Low. Ends up forming equal lows. Probably. Ooh. Equal lows get taken. Again, bigger time frame. Draw still lower. What do we expect? All right, big displacement back up. Once we sweep that low, what could I expect? Want to see if we come up to here. What would I want to see? Big displacement above that high. Notice we come up, sweep that high, instantly reject. So we definitely want to go lower. Again, until I see some sort of market structure shift to the upside. And draw still lower. Draw still lower in a bigger time frame. This is kind of when you get good quality setups, is when you can look at here and then look and possibly see some sort of high get swept. All right, we're coming up. Right? Again, what does this now become as well? The low resistance liquidity, so we want to be careful about that. Okay, that gets taken. Do we get displacement back down? Yes. Market structure shift. That's when we pull back to discount. Short. What am I targeting? These lows. Bing, 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 bing. Sells off. probably at least, again, half off here. That's when you get stopped at break even. Winner trade. If we displace, again, if we're breaking through all these PD arrays, what can I expect? Possibly go higher, unless we get displacement back down, and that was internal. Still holding, rejection of this. Again, what's being respected, what's being disrespected. Possibly going to see continuation lower. Relative equal lows. Comes back up, sweeps that high. Sweeps equal highs here. Displacement lower. Again, still holding this bullish fair value gap. This needs to get disrespected if we want to see lower. Right now, we're still holding, so I'd expect to probably go see higher. But unless we can break through this, then we'll probably go higher. There we go. We break through. What does this now become? Drawn liquidity becomes lower. Retrace. Breaks through that. So now, again, right, disrespecting that again. Goes right through that high. This now becomes lower resistance. Oh, I accidentally... Oh, where am I? Uh-oh. What the? Where did I go? Oh, wait. Why am I on silver? All right, well, I guess that's enough. We should do a replay session on correlating pairs at some point and incorporate SMT. I know I want to do that, but I don't know how to replay both at the same time. I don't think you can. All right. Do you guys like doing those training sessions? Do you benefit from that? Or the replays? The way that I like doing it is when something goes against us, right? The way that you can recognize how to switch your bias from it, right? Like, let's say, like for that example right, that we were just on, like if I think the draw's lower, like I want to create that again because I want to go over that, right? If like, let's say we get this kind of structure, right? Where we like have a fair value gap, we continue to like keep chopping and keep chopping, and then we like displace lower kind of here, right? And then there's like a bearish fair value gap here that we're rejecting, right? If we kind of get that sell-off, right, I would expect the draw to be that, right? But if I'm in short, right, I'll probably put my stop here. Now, I don't need to let myself get stopped out here. And the reason is because, again, if there's a bearish fair value gap here, 100% of the time, this needs to get disrespected. If this ends up getting ran through, I got to admit, okay, probably on the wrong side of the trade here. I should probably take it off here, right? And then, yeah. Because sometimes you will be wrong. And they'll being able to understand what's being respected, what's being disrespected. Also, in that kind of conditions as well, everything was kind of getting ran through. There wasn't really anything getting respected. When you re-enter trades, do you lower your size? No, I don't. And the reason is because most of the time when I re-enter, I realize that, again, my bias is right. My execution was off. So when I re-enter, it's just, now that I have confirmation, right, knowing that was probably a stop hunt, I then re-enter. It's a nice little... bullish up, displacement, pull back, discount, reject, reject, sweep that high, boom. Yep, no train tomorrow. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this session. Lots of stuff going over as well. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all. So actually, I'll see you all on Tuesday. So Tuesday night is when we'll do our charting session. Do you have any advice on position sizing on a 50K funded with 2,600 drawdown? Probably stick to micros. I would say your max loss should be no more than, 400, I would say. And that's still a lot, pretty heavy. But again, I think trading on an eval with a little bit heavier size is honestly more easy because again, you have a time limit with it. So exactly. When you realize it was a stop hunt, you wait for the displacement and then enter again. Like for example, I wish I could go back to that specific trade. But again, like for example, if this is the case, right? Like let's say this. Let's say we have a high here, right? Oh, can I? Let's say we have a high right here, right? We come up, sweep the high. We get market structure shift, and then we pull back. And then let's say my stop is here, right? Let's say I enter off this fair value gap. My stop is like, let's say I enter short. My stop's like right here, and I'm looking to go lower, right? And then let's say markets do this. Boom, 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 right? Now, bigger time frame, we're still respecting this fair value gap. So then what do I look for? Okay, now once we break that, then this is where I re-enter. Because my bias is still right, just my first execution was off. Now that market's even showing me more, right? Then that's where I'd be like, okay, now I'm ready to, reassess. And then now I can re-enter, all right? All right. Enjoy your rest of your night, guys. I will see you all on Tuesday. Peace. Enjoy your night, guys.